Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 156 at scavengerlife.com, and we're talking about our store.
And this week we have been in LA for 1 week, and we'll be here for a second week. We're currently in Santa Monica.
Beautiful Santa Monica, right by the beach.
Yeah, which is really nice. So, and just, saying hello to everyone. This is a documentation of two people that run a full-time eBay store. That being said, this week we did no eBay. We didn't list. We didn't ship.
We didn't buy anything.
We didn't buy anything.
We didn't buy anything.
However, we kept selling though. As everyone knows, when we aren't home, we just put a notice on our store, and we change our handling time, and we just let people know it's going to be a period of time before we get home and ship again, and we keep selling.
Yeah, so far so good. It's been quite an experiment for sure.
Yeah, so this week we made $1,400 on 34 items. And again, that's gross income. That does include the shipping that people paid us, but that's before, eBay and PayPal fees. So that's not bad. It's definitely a big drop from last week where we made about $2,500.
Yeah, it fluctuates. And again, as we always say, you just don't have any control. We could be listing, we should be listing.
Right. That's the only control.
That's the control you have. And obviously shipping things out to people. But people seem okay about waiting 2 weeks, so that's good.
But it is weird, and some people were talking about it on the blog that I feel like something happened with eBay. That's what it feels.
Yeah.
We don't know. We didn't have any problems getting into eBay.
Right. I didn't have any problems. But I think you noticed, when we were selling things the last few days, we weren't getting emails saying we sold it. It did show as sold, and I did get a PayPal email. So it's just odd when little normal things like that.
Well, so some people were saying that eBay was down. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was weird. In the beginning of the week, we were selling good like we have been. 5, 6, 8, 10 items a day. And then the end of the week, man.
You just dropped off.
1 item a day, 2 items a day.
And again, that's the funny thing about this business. You don't know if it's because the economy did something weird. Was it eBay's technology? Is it because you're not listing? It's like a mystery.
Right.
So,
For those of you who have heard this podcast over the past maybe 3 months, this is probably becoming a normal thing for us, it seems. We're traveling a lot.
Yeah.
We're working on different projects that have nothing to do with eBay. And, you guys know we have a big store. We have 300 items in our store now. Mm-hmm. And we really kind of depend on that because when we are away, things still sell. And I guess my question is how long can our store go on autopilot like that?
Without listing. We try to list while we're traveling, but it's been tough lately. And
just the reality is we're doing all these other things, and we just don't have time to list. But that was kind of the point of when we do eBay, we really focus and we just go full force into it. So then it gives us the freedom to work on other things
and kind of float along.
But that is the question though. So if we're selling 30 to 50 items a week, so 12 weeks or 3 months, that would be selling about 500 items. So we would still have over 2,500 things in our store,
Yeah, it's still a lot of items.
But, I just don't know if there's a number where we would start to see our income
just drop
regularly.
Yeah.
And so it makes me nervous, but it also makes me very grateful.
Yeah. It's almost unreal. It's like you have this business that you're running remotely. We can't ship, which is unfortunate, and that does have to wait. But the whole time we were away, that 5 weeks in Europe, etc., we made a fine living. There were some people who canceled. We did get some returns. We did get some, and we'll talk about that later, just some people who didn't like waiting. But the majority of people were fine with it. That's incredible.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's a continuing experiment for the next however long.
And we hope this helps other people too out there who to us, that's what eBay is. It's like a tool for us. So,
Right.
When we do eBay, we do it, and we bulk up our inventory, and then we want to do other things in our lives.
It's a flexible way of making money. I remember when we were doing the podcast with Mikey and Wendy, they talked about that a lot, where they're like, there's sometimes where there's a week where we want to go hiking all week, and that's okay because we actually can do that. We're still making money,
And so I know, that there are people out there that are like, well, that's what FBA does, Amazon FBA, where you buy a bunch of stuff, you pack it up, and you send it to the Amazon warehouses.
Right.
They take care of everything.
Yeah.
And then we could really have this kind of life where we just travel. We don't have to worry about messaging people.
Right. Everything's shipped. Yeah.
I get that. But let's talk about what we sold this week. So, again, it was another week of totally random items. Like we sold a vintage rug. Like a really distressed,
That's real,
just
really
distressed,
it's
a
Persian rug.
Got it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good quality. It's a wool.
Right. It's just distressed. It's old. It's worn out.
And we sold that for $250. So, as you guys know, we love finding those because normally people sell them really cheap and then people buy them. But then most of the stuff we bought was just like that kind of like weird items that you buy at estate sales.
Right. It just random. I sold some jewelry. I sold some. We sell clothing all the time, just weird, interesting stuff. I think some stuff people are buying for Halloween also, which is good because we are getting home in time to ship for Halloween. So that makes me happy.
But my point is that it's weird stuff that we could never sell on Amazon.
On Amazon, like, unique stuff.
We keep saying it when we finally get back and can really focus on getting back into our online store, we are going to do an experiment and send some stuff into Amazon FBA. But, as you guys know, it's just a different kind of inventory. And really, it's the weirder stuff that you can't sell on Amazon that is the bulk of our items that we sell and make its money on.
So that's why I think we're a little bit hesitant to do FBA because we like to find the weird items. The items where you might be the only person on eBay or online anywhere that has that item. That's cool.
So it's almost like we are trying to develop a system where we kind of have, where we sell only on eBay, but we try and use it like Amazon FBA in a way, except we still have to ship and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so we still like to have the flexibility of being there.
Yeah, so far I have 35 items I have to ship, which is really not bad compared to 200. So hopefully it'll double by next week when we get home. But.
Right. But, that's about average. So if we were gone for 5 weeks and we're averaging between 30 and 40 items, after 5 weeks it would be about 200 items. So,
so that is the right number to hit.
So, so our week this week coming up, we're in LA for the second week. We go home a week from Saturday, which doesn't matter to people, but so we go home in a week. Mm-hmm. And, we're in LA because we're working on another project that has nothing to do with eBay.
It's different.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting for us because we have this freedom to be able to do something. We're kind of taking some chances, some risks, and it's cool. And
it's a different avenue we're exploring that maybe we can talk about later.
Yeah,
much later.
more to come. But really, for me, being 42 years old, this is like the dream I've always had, to be able to have a life where I had some financial stability.
Yep.
But I could still travel and just kind of try things out.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's really...
And have a beautiful partner to do it with.
Oh, wow. That's so nice of you to say on a recording.
I just want to make clear, though, we still see our eBay store as being full-time.
Yeah, absolutely. We always push list every week, which you should. You should bulk up so that when you do want to do something else, you can. But, we are selling full-time. We haven't turned our store off. We never turn our store off. When I go home, I'm like a packing insanity. you know, so
industrial. It's machine. You're like an.
I think the last time with the 200 items, because I talked about this before. It's not just like putting jackets in poly mailers. It was artwork. It was lamps. It was glassware.
There was a person that made a good suggestion, like, don't tell people you're going to ship the day you get home.
I did, and I didn't. It was like a couple of days out.
So it's maybe it's next time give like 5 days.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Actually, that's a great idea.
But
yeah.
But I mean, I think it's my point is, you know, we get a lot of emails and I see it on the comments. People are like, I've been selling on eBay for a decade, you know, 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of selling where they sold a lot for a year, then something happened in their life, or they
just stopped,
and then they stopped, and then maybe they're starting to pick up again. I think for us, we're trying to have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Like, we want to continue to sell on eBay full time. It's a full time store, but we want to, when these periods in our life happens, when we have an opportunity, we want to be able to
take that opportunity,
to take it, but still have our eBay store going.
Yeah,
you know?
we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket and that's usually what freelancers are like. If you're getting a regular full-time office job, you know, you're not diversifying your income, but we have chosen to try to do different things. You know, it is kind of like juggling, but you just don't want, you know, one thing to, you know, get slim and then you don't have anything else.
I'm going to do a different take on that because I hear that a lot. Like, all those YouTube people are like, diversify, you know, selling Amazon, selling Etsy, selling
but I don't mean
Bonanza.
Like that,
right.
Yeah.
But I just want to be clear. Like, I think for us, it's not about so much like we're worried about eBay. So we feel like we need to diversify. It's more about we're just interested in different things.
Yes, that's true.
So it's like, I like eBay. I like selling eBay full time. It's just I like to do other things too.
Right. Yeah.
So it's more about diversifying my attention, my fun, my interest.
No, that's a good point actually, because if I didn't care about anything else, I would just work on eBay, and we have the choice to be able to do that, and you could. And a lot of people do.
Right.
Like, they're like, I don't want to do anything else, you know?
And so, you know, and that's the other thing I hear, you know, I've heard people those people who say, you know, I've sold on eBay for a decade, but then they stopped and they kind of start again and stop. And it's because, you know, again, you don't have to, or for us, we don't feel like eBay's just another weight around our neck.
Right.
A grind, you know.
It's actually the opposite of that.
Right.
It like gives us freedom.
Right.
You know, it's completely the opposite.
And I feel like we've been, you know, away so long working on other things that we talk about it sometimes when we're having lunch or something. We're like, God, can't you just wait to go home with our cats and just like focus for like a couple weeks, just like listing and taking pictures? Like, it's
isn't it funny? You like look forward to it.
Yeah, like when you're away from it, there's kind of like a system. It's meditative. There's you know,
it's very calm. I mean, we've been doing work here, and obviously we were working in Europe. It's very stressful doing certain kind of work, and I find that, you know, going home and doing eBay, it can be stressful with customers and packing and, you know, that, but really the level is so different.
But yet, at least for us, you know, and then when we do that for, let's say, 2 or 3 months, we like focus on eBay. That's all we do every day. And then we just start getting kind of
like
bored,
antsy,
just getting kind of burnt out. Like, oh, you know,
let's do something else.
You know, I've taken, 10,000 pictures of things, and I'm just like, I want to do something else. And then we get to do stuff like this.
Yeah, and then we can still sell all the stuff we listed while we were on.
So I guess, you know, I'm sure you guys get it now. Like, we just like to juggle that, and so far it's working for us, you know? So the other thing too is that we're, you know, it's almost October 20th, which all of it, you guys know, is when eBay, you know, they do that thing where the 20th every month, they look at your numbers and its defects and tell you if you're going to be top rated or not. And we're going to get top.
Wow, we're going to get top rated. Wait, so our shipping went back up to 90% or more?
So here's the deal. This is like inside baseball kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we lost our top rated seller status during the summertime because we were traveling so much. We then changed our strategy, and we now change our handling time.
Right.
So if we're away for 5 weeks, we change our handling time to 5 weeks. Or like we're now gone for 2 weeks, we change our handling time for 2 weeks. So now eBay thinks our shipping is correct because we ship on time.
Right.
So we ship when we say
According to
we
our
are.
handling, yeah.
Versus back in the old days, we would just keep it for next
Or one day, yeah.
But then we would email people and people would be cool. So this is the better way to do it. However, we're not going to get any discount because you only get the discount
if your handling time is one day.
The next day.
Right.
So it's weird. So we're going to be top rated
weird.
seller with that little cartoon badge by our name.
But it's not, isn't it top rated seller versus top rated seller plus? Aren't there two different things? Or no, that's something else.
Yeah, I have no idea. Actually.
Okay.
I think now everything's top rated plus, so whatever. We're going to be top rated plus. The thing is, we just don't get the discount.
But maybe it helps our search ranking or something.
People say that, but I think like
knows?
we've been talking on the blog recently. Ultimately, we sell whether or not we're top rated or not.
Yeah.
It's nice to get, I guess, because...
But our numbers don't reflect any difference.
Yeah,
really.
like... Exactly. It's just interesting. It's, but definitely if it's something that you've been really kind of focused on and you get mad at eBay if you lose your top rated, don't worry about it.
Yeah, you just can't worry about it. The 20% discount is everybody says is nice. Of course it's nice.
Yeah.
But are you going to just like kill yourself to get that? You can, but sometimes like with us, we just can't.
I think for us, like we would save $200 to $300 a month with that 20%
which would be
discount,
awesome. That's
which
a
would be
lot.
nice. But we like to have the flexibility of our life, the way we travel.
We have to,
and that's worth $200 or $300 rather than just being at home all the time.
Yeah,
so good for us.
Yeah.
So the other thing was, I guess this week we didn't actually buy anything to sell on eBay, but we did go and scavenge some. We went to some estate sales
in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, in Beverly Hills.
And what was so funny to me was we went to this one house. I could not believe how dilapidated it was inside. Like, I've been to estate sales where you're like, this house is almost a teardown. It wasn't a teardown, but it's funny to be in I think it's one of the richest zip codes in the country per capita. One of them, anyway, 90210. And some of the houses you go into, they're just filthy and filled with crap.
Well, I mean, it's what it is, the houses are really beautiful on the outside.
Right.
But then when you go inside, like this happened to be probably a woman or a man passed away or was put into like a home.
Yes.
And so the inside this was the life for the last 30 years. They didn't do anything to it. It was dirty.
It was dirty. The walls were all busted up. Some of the lights were coming out of the ceiling.
Hadn't been updated. So, even in the outrageous areas, people have, interesting, weird lives.
And I got a bunch of housewares. I needed housewares for the place that we were staying in. And I got them a bunch of stuff for $5.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. That was the right price.
Yeah. I mean, and we had gone to a couple more and just, there was some cool stuff, but man, prices. It was the first day of the estate sale, so that's how it always is. Always overpriced. I'm sure if we went today or at the end of the day, they start discounting stuff.
But yeah, I think some people just have the prices high, and we just walk out. And I gave them a little bit of attitude too yesterday.
Yeah,
I was mad. I was like, "What? Your dirty old like housewares that are covered in grease, and you want how much?"
Yeah, it's interesting. I always got to be grateful that we just seem to find so much good quality but correctly priced items in our little country area, in it's Virginia. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty lucky with where we find stuff sometimes. I'm sure in LA you could really, really scavenge, but you'd have to take a lot more time than we did.
Like it's Sunday right now, and there's the Long Beach flea market, that is happening right now. And instead of going to that, we're doing this. And we're going to go, meet some friends. But, if we were here for a longer, I would love to hit those flea markets.
Yeah, I think, and I always say this, but you really have to prepare yourself. Because the flea market we go to, you can walk it in about an hour. I mean, an hour or two, you know. But these flea markets are so huge. And Long Beach isn't even as big as, like, the Rose Bowl. I'm like, okay, I need 2 bottles of water. I need a hat. I need snacks and, like, a backpack. You know, and hiking shoes because it's so massive.
And actually, Mike and Karina on the blog, they comment a lot, and they are. I hope I said that name right. They're in Orange County, and they emailed us, and you know, if we had more time, they talked about some other smaller flea markets in their area that you know, I'd love to go to.
Yeah, and I wish that we had more time to do it.
Yeah, because we love the flea markets, so
you can really find some cool stuff. Even if people are selling like high-end stuff for expensive, you can always find like the little things here and there that are worth it, I think.
Yeah, sure, you know. Okay, so customer issues for us during the week. I mean, like I said, we haven't done eBay, but we still are always answering questions,
right?
Dealing with offers, you know. So even though we aren't buying and selling to ship, you know, we're still dealing with that. So we sold, you know, we shipped 200 items from our 5-week trip in Amsterdam.
Right.
I think it's all played out now. We had got 8 things sent back to us.
Yes. So we had shipped all those things and then we immediately left for LA. So we were still waiting for people to get stuff as we were coming here. So yeah, people have, it was mostly clothes that didn't fit. That was the majority
of it. Clothes and
shoes. Clothes and shoes. I'm counting shoes as clothing. Things you wear that didn't fit. So the good thing was a majority of the hassle-free returns, we didn't have to pay for shipping.
Well, so why don't we break this down? So it was 8 out of 200. So that's 4 out of every 100. So that's a 4% return rate, which is pretty average. We go between 2 and 5 percent. So that sounds about right. It was a lot of clothes and shoes.
Yeah.
We probably, out of those 8, I think maybe 5 were the automated its returns where we just get a message that says this person's going to send it back. Only one of those people that did the automated its returns said it was our fault and we're paying. The others were just like, I'm paying for it.
But I will say that automated return was one that most sellers would want to fight because they were used shoes. And the person was like, these are really worn out. We said that they were worn out. And they said they were defective. I don't think that's really why they're returning them.
Right.
But so that's a bummer. But we just ate it and just were like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
what can you do?
The cool thing about the automated its returns is they print a thing out at home. They ship it to you. It automatically does it. You know, its number through
the tracking number.
Right. Yeah. And then we get an email when it gets sent to our home. And we can do a
return from there. A refund,
A refund. So it's actually much easier to manage.
Like it other than the fact that people can very easily abuse it and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Granted, that's a huge drawback.
But I think for us, to make it more objective, we really haven't seen an overabundance of abuse.
Right.
Every now and again, it feels like someone's kind of abusing it, but you know, it seems like it's no big deal. I mean, so far, we're still happy with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that sucked was out of these 8, you know, a good number of them were kind of high dollar items, like over $100.
Yeah.
Like, and
several
you know,
of them
shoes, a jacket, you know, where it's you know,
it hurts.
It kind of hurts. So you know, out of those 8, that stuff might have been worth about $500.
It was a lot. It's just odd. You were like, man. Several of these are over $100, but I just think it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, we talk about where it's just like Amazon. People try things on, they spent a lot of money, I don't like it, send it back.
Yeah.
That's just, you know, when you're selling clothing, that's just the deal.
I think the difference for eBay too is that I read a lot about the Amazon FBA is that when it's return things, it gets sent back and sometimes the packaging's all screwed up, so the person has to just eat the whole cost of the item.
Everything.
We'll actually get these things back
and resell them.
They're good items.
Yeah.
And they'll sell again.
And that's actually, I was saying this last night, was it sucks when someone sends back a pair of shoes that are $120, but you're like, this is a high quality pair of shoes. someone else will buy them and they'll fit and they'll be fine.
Yeah. And some of these things were, we had taken offers on them because we were away. We just wanted to sell. So actually, I think we'll make more money on these items because some of them I probably wouldn't take as low of an offer again, in another circumstance.
Right.
So, yeah, but, people were talking on the blog, like Linda Shields said that she had turned on automated its returns and got a couple of them and wasn't happy because she doesn't really get these. I really feel like this is eBay just trying to become Amazon.
Yeah, competing with that return policy.
Right, just where...
Absolutely.
And I don't know, I hear people, like, I like when we kind of do personal conversations, but, eBay does have to keep up with what people expect online.
Right.
They like the just automated everything.
Exactly, which is unfortunate for sellers, but...
It's just, people seem to really love Amazon, especially, and people who sell on Amazon seem to talk about it too, but it really is bringing everything to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
Everything's as cheap as possible. Everything's as easy to return.
Yep.
It's just different from eBay where it's more like a little antique mall,
Right, it's different. Or the expectations are just different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had one customer this week during us being away say they had already bought another jacket just like this, so please cancel ours, which sucks, but you're like, okay, they didn't want to wait, they bought one that's similar, no big deal. So I went to the resolution center to cancel it, just like usual. They requested to cancel it, no big deal. So I went to go say, I sold an item, I'd like to cancel it. And then this other page came up that had like pictures of all my sold items. And I thought it was like something wrong with eBay because I'd never seen this before. Usually it just asks you to put the item number in and then it goes through a certain prompt and you like go through the resolution center. They changed the resolution center. I don't remember them saying they were going to do this. I thought something was wrong and I thought I was going to have to call eBay. So I put it off and told my customer, look, I got to figure this out, whatever. And then today I was like, oh, it's showing me items I sold. So I'll just type the item number in here. And then it was a jacket. The jacket came up and I clicked on that and said, reason for cancellation, buyer changed mind. And then it goes through the process like, okay, I'd like to give them the refund. It just looks totally different. So just be prepared for that and don't be like, something's wrong with eBay. Because I literally thought something was wrong because it looks totally different.
Yeah, eBay
seems, what the hell?
I don't know how Amazon does it, but eBay seems to do that, every several months, like something changes. Like it seems like there's different teams that work on a different part of the website and just...
Yeah.
You just have to kind of flow with it.
I just don't remember them saying that was going to happen in the like fall seller update or whatever. But I think it's good if they start changing and updating things because the resolution center looks like it's from 1998. So it's good that they're changing it. It was a little abrupt.
Yeah.
That's all.
We can deal with change.
Yeah, it's fine. Just be prepared.
So one other thing with dealing with its customers... It's this week, and I just have to tell on it's myself here. On the blog, people are always coming on saying, like, I have this customer, I'm so angry, and me included, the smart people of us are saying, like, don't worry about it. Like, you saw a lot of stuff, just people get grumpy, deal with it. So I had a woman, she bought a pair of, like, exercise pants.
Right, they were new.
And we sold them new. They're those expensive, like, it's Nike pants.
Yeah, they're like dry fit.
And she got a
fancy.
Good deal. She wrote to us and she said she got them. They look great. She said that the washing instruction tags had been cut out.
Right.
Which I don't remember that happening, but probably did.
No, so I'll say this. For these pants, the size and the information was printed on them on the inside. So I never looked for any other tags besides that, washing instructions, anything like that to take a picture of. So I totally missed that.
And so it's my fault. I just wrote her back and I just said, if you're unhappy with this, just send it back. And for some reason, she was just a grumpy buyer. She was really angry. She was
mad.
I guess she was inferring that we had lied to her, that they weren't new.
Right.
And so... she called us a liar and that,
Yeah.
she was super unhappy.
And these are long, like paragraph long emails that she's sending us.
And so I just reiterate, as I always do, just send them back. I even said, we'll pay to
all the
ship
shipping.
back, whatever you need. But she was trying to squeeze out of me that we had lied to her. And then I just reminded her, we have a very large store. We buy everything on clearance, basically. That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
And that we sell things at a discount, that we don't, that these weren't our pants.
Right.
She seemed to act like these were our pants that we owned and wore, and then we're selling them as new. And I just said, that kind of calmed her down. But it was just one of those things where it really did ruin my day.
Oh, no. I mean, it ruined part of your day.
Yeah, just where, every so often that conversation would pop up in it's my head, and it just would make me angry, and it's just so silly. I mean,
I think the issue is, though, when people write emails like that, where they're like, this tag was cut out, and you're like, okay, well, I never noticed it. They are still never worn,
Right.
They're still brand new. But we're trying to get out of them, what do you want?
Right. I mean, where, and so I always do that. I always go to just send them back. Like,
you're unhappy.
There's no problem here. But there are those buyers, and I forget about it, where they just don't want money. They don't want to send things back. They want, like, they feel like they've been lied to.
Like, they want some kind of weird justification of their anger or something.
They're trying to do a humbling, they're trying to humble you or
just something weird. I think it's just a different mentality where we're like, wait, you don't want a refund. You're not unhappy with the product.
Right.
What is your problem?
And so my fault in this, because, ultimately it's my fault, is that I should have done our silent treatment.
Yeah.
And that is, she says one thing, I say return it, send it back, and I should have just shut up.
Stopped after that.
I should not have engaged her, because then she has a choice. She keeps them, and she can give us bad feedback, it's whatever, or she mails them back. But I didn't need to engage her in conversation. And it's a conversation that starts to make me feel bad, because then I think, oh, I should have said this or that. Such wasted time.
Yeah, so that was, we forgot about our silent method. But I think there was a reason behind that, because we were trying to figure out what it was she wanted. We were like, wait, you don't want to return them?
Right.
What's wrong with you?
But see, that's the thing. It doesn't matter, what she wants. It's that's why the silent treatment is the best way, because you just give her an option.
And then shut up.
She
has to figure out what she wants to do.
eBay does not require me to be her psychoanalysis. All eBay expects me to do is to take a return if she wants it. So anyway, that has to happen to me every once in a while to me to remember. But
oops. Oh, crazy person. Yep.
Learn from me.
Totally.
So things we learned in the comments on the blog over at scavengeralife.com. We did a great interview during the week with Frank. He's a young guy out of Chicago. And for some reason, his interview really seemed to spark a lot of conversation, and people really kind of got into it, because he's like, in his early 20s. He paid for his schooling and is continuing to paying for his schooling through
selling on eBay, which we're always like, why aren't more young people? Because he understands trends and fashion.
Right.
Like, he's in college. He gets what's cool with people.
And plus, when you're young like that, no one pays you anything. Like, getting a $10
for getting a job,
getting a $10 an hour job is basically all a lot of young people can get.
Or an internship where you don't get paid at all.
And if you can run a full-time store, put 30, 40 hours a week into eBay, you'll make way more than $10 an hour. So it was interesting. It seemed like a lot of younger people started kind of popping out of the woodwork and identifying themselves as also having stores. And it's cool. Yeah,
I think that was really cool that more young people were like, oh, hey, I'm super young and I just got out of college. And so you're like, yay, that's cool.
Or there were quite a few of like, I'm a young person and I have a couple of kids, and so I'm doing this at home. That seems to also be a common thing.
Exactly.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
I guess my big question is like, if all the young people started to sell on eBay, who would make us all of our fast food?
older people, maybe? I don't know.
That's so sad. Oh, no.
There are plenty of other people who would do it who don't sell on eBay.
Yeah. So our coming week, are we going to do any eBay this week?
I don't know. We talked about it. We have a couple of days that might be free, that might have time. So it would be me sitting there listing. So I have to figure out if I can. I hope that I have time. I would like to have time to do it.
So we'll see. And then I must be publicly proud of my partner here. She always cuts her own hair. And I cut mine, and she cuts my hair too because I just shaved my head. Buzz cutter. But tomorrow she's actually going to go and have a haircut.
Now I will say it is super scavenger style because we were walking down the street and there was this salon that's actually a cosmetology school. It's like this fancy cosmetology school near UCLA, and they were like, haircuts $15. I was like, for women, haircuts for $15? And they're like, yeah, it's students, and I mean, they know what they're doing, but the haircuts just take longer.
Right.
So we were like, all right, because usually haircuts for women in fancy places are like $100.
I had to talk Ryan into getting an appointment. She's like,
I was like, I don't want to.
The interesting thing is, I guess these are the ones that are just kind of, they're starting out.
Yeah.
They told us it could take up to 3 hours.
No. 2 hours. She said max 2 hours.
Okay.
And the good thing is, usually my haircuts are not complicated. They're short, almost like boy cuts. So it shouldn't be a problem.
What happens if they cut your hair and it's horrible?
Well, I would just shave my head. I have shaved my head for years. That's not a problem for me. So if they fucked it up, I don't care.
That was more in Ryan's younger days before I knew her, when she was a punk.
I had a shaved head when we were together.
No.
I mean, literally...
A total shave?
No, not a total shave. I mean, I always had, like, bangs. Okay. But I would use the buzz cutter to cut my hair. So if I got home and was like, this haircut's horrible...
Just shave it?
I just shave it.
Wow.
And have bangs or whatever. It's really... I am not attached to things like that.
Good.
Like, it doesn't bother me. So I'm not worried about having a young student cut my hair for 15
But that's another way that we can live the life we live, is that obviously we don't spend money on the kinds of things other people spend money on.
Yeah. As you know, because we're called Scavenger Life.
Okay, so let's answer some of the questions that were sent in to us. You know, on the sidebar of our blog, there's like a little form that you can send its questions. You can also just go on the blog and just leave comments as well. All right, so the first question this week is from it's Merchandise Matchmaker, or Laura Lee. So she had sent us a question earlier about how eBay updates the defects, and how all those calculations are done and how up to date they are on your feedback. And she's just asking. She said she's been calling and trying to figure out from eBay, and she's not getting a good answer. Here's our thing: we find that it just takes at least a week for eBay to total up your defects and your whatever, your shipping time. It just don't think like it's happening.
It's not instant.
Up to date, minute by second,
Yeah.
And you should never live by your eBay store in that way.
Yeah.
Just kind of take a step back, focus on shipping and all that stuff. And just 20th of every month is when they give you your grade. It's almost like being in high school again.
Yeah.
You'll get your card, and they tell you how you did.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can call and be like, what's up with this? When's it going to change? Like, I had a defect removed, I think it was last week, and they said it's not going to be till next Thursday, which was basically a week until it shows up. So I'm like, that's ridiculous, but that's just what he said, So I just have to wait.
And I always have to remember, too, to us, we actually have quite a few defects. I mean, but we're under that 2% line where you have to be under. And that's because we have so much other feedback and sales that it dilutes all the bad stuff. And that's really the best way to do it. Just focus on selling, do as much as you can, and then it dilutes any bad defect or whatever. No big deal. So there's a person here. I don't know if it's a man or a lady. Hunkrylon. This person actually asked a bunch of questions, so we'll kind of go through some of them. I guess this person sells in an antique mall or has been, and he's been hearing like advice from the guys in the antique malls, which
Right.
is it's always good to learn from everyone, but I sometimes feel they can be grumpy and just have weird ways. This person's saying, if you ever have a silver item, you should always clean it or
Polish it.
So never sell silver or
brass.
Yeah, don't keep the antique, like clean it where it's bright and shiny.
Yes, it depends on what you want to do. Some people don't want to take the time to clean, and they'll probably sell their stuff cheaper. Sometimes polishing silver, depending on like what the piece is, can really be a pain. So you could just sell it as is. I mean, the price of silver is always so crazy anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if it's real, if it's, pure or it's whatever.
Sterling or whatever.
Sometimes people don't care what
it's all for the melt value.
They're just buying it for the melt value.
Yeah.
So that doesn't matter. The other thing is sometimes things, they don't have to be antique, but sometimes people want the patina on it because it just looks
cool.
Cool.
So really, it just depends on what you want to do. I polish some things I don't. It just depends on the piece and what I think, it could be used for in a design or a house or whatever.
And that just goes back to each of our styles,
Yeah.
We just pick up an item and we just try and imagine what style this thing has. Is it going to be in someone's house because it needs to be shiny and beautiful, or is it, going to be on someone's wall or, cabinet and it's supposed to look kind of old?
Yeah, so it just depends. Depends on what you want to do.
Right.
There's no right or wrong answer for to clean or not to clean.
Yep.
So this person also says, if I decide to end a bunch of low price, fixed price items about 29, will eBay penalize me in some way? Basically because they want to rephotograph it and sell it as a lot. I don't think so. I think you could probably end your whole store and eBay would be like, whatever. You'd still get charged for the listing fees that you paid, but...
Yeah, I think that's what this person is asking. I mean, if you end an item and put it up again, they are going to charge you a new...
listing fee.
It's fee to put it up.
Right.
But you know what? Ultimately, again, we always say this. Don't stress about the fees.
Yeah, they're so low.
A list. They're so small. And I mean, if, whatever, a 50-cent fee, 20-cent fee, 10-cent fee is really affecting your bottom line, number one, you need to put a lot more stuff up, or number two, you need to put higher dollar things up. I mean,
Right.
50 cents or 10 cents should not be a factor in whether you're going to put something up in the appropriate way.
Yeah, so ending 29 items and then relisting them as a lot, there should be no issue. Now, if you think there might be, just call eBay and ask them. There shouldn't be, though.
Yeah. Again, for people that have a lot of questions, we encourage you, just post them to the blog. I'm always amazed when other people are coming up with different other kind of answers that I would never think of. So that's really the best
Yes.
way. So this person also asks, what do I think, because I'm the photographer of the family, about photographing items in the original box that are still taped up or sealed?
Right.
Yeah, so the answer is, I obviously don't take the plastic off or break it. I just take a picture of the box as it is sealed up. I take pictures of every angle, all the info on it, and show that it's sealed, and then that's the way we put it up.
Yeah. I mean, if it's new in box, you don't want to open it up unless it's, something just in a box that doesn't have any seal and you can show it. But other than that, you don't want to break any seals or cut any bags open or anything.
Yeah, I mean, especially too, if it's like some old piece, that happened to not be open, like that's extremely valuable.
Right, exactly. That can be very valuable depending on what your item is.
I'm a little bit not wanting to bring this up again, but I think it comes up every now and again.
Yep.
So this person who sells, I guess, in an antique mall and runs across one of these guys who says, he tries to school him on how old antiques are,
Right.
and when you can say antique and vintage and old and all this stuff. Here's the deal, in my opinion. it's the Wild West. You can say whatever you want, in my opinion. You know, there's no law. The sheriff isn't come and get you if you put vintage or antique. You just have to do what you think is appropriate when someone buys the item, you know?
Right.
So if you have an item that was made in 1995 and if you put antique on it, the buyer's probably going to get really angry.
Right.
You know? But as far as vintage goes, it's just a good word to use for items that are older. You know, it's just a good way to identify that something is, you know, not made a year ago.
Right. I think vintage, you know, for us, we're trying to describe things that have a style to them that is, you know, retro or, you know, like a typewriter. Okay, you could qualify some of the typewriters we've sold definitely as antiques, but people are searching for vintage typewriter, you know, and they might be searching for both. So I'd put both in the title. So what? You know, I just want people to find it. It's you know, typewriters basically aren't made anymore. So vintage typewriters.
And people,
you know.
it's use word like Art Deco and retro and, you know, that kind of stuff. And, you know, I think I've read, and again, people will argue this all day long, and that's why I just hate talking about it, is that, you know, a vintage item is normally about 20 years old.
Plus.
So that's like, you know, as of now, it's like 1994. Like, that stuff
90s,
is considered vintage,
people,
you know.
The 90s.
And then I think antique is, 100 years. I've heard that
it's like
name.
80 plus or something.
So, again, eBay doesn't care. eBay's not going to penalize you. It's really between you and the buyer, and if you're appropriately and honestly describing something, and that's why we always try and find dates. You know, dates are the best if you can find dates on items.
Are so helpful.
You know, and with clothes, there are different ways that you can age it by tags, and there's whole websites and blogs dedicated to helping you figure out how to date something based on, you know,
the
tags and the different kind of scenes.
Although I will say there are different categories. Like there are antiques categories versus vintage categories versus just regular, you know, household items or clothing.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't want to put something that's like from the 90s in an antique category, obviously.
Right.
But, you know, just do your research.
Yeah. I mean, that's just why when, you know, you go into an antique mall, I love all those people. I love the stuff in there, but it's such a different world than selling on eBay. Those people, I think, are less about selling their items. It's more about displaying. They're collectors. It's like you're walking into a
museum.
Yeah, it's that style versus, you know, those of us who are selling eBay, like, I'm there to move product, basically. You know, I hate to sound like that guy, but that's true. You know, like, I'm not collecting this stuff and holding on to it. I'm trying to sell it.
I'm trying to sell to the collectors, basically. Okay, so this person asked about in Turbo Lister and also on the eBay listing tool, down in the middle is the section for the weight and the size of the box. At this stage of the game, what's your thoughts on using approximate size for a box? So here's the thing. If you're using priority mail boxes, none of those are oversized. If it's anything like, I think it's over between 12 and 15 inches, that's going to start to become possibly oversized. So anything above the USPS sizes, and I'm still learning this too, as you guys know, you should put the size of the box. Like I sent 2 very large pieces of artwork recently. You know, one box was like 36 by 44 by 6. That's a pretty big box. And so I had to send it parcel post because it was an oversized box. And you have to put the size of the box on the label, or on the other end or at your post office, they can charge you extra without your eBay discount for the size of the box. So you have to be doing that. You know, if it's just a shirt or a jacket that's going in a poly mailer, whatever, you're going to be fine. A pair of boots that's going in a priority mail box, you're going to be fine. But anything that's starting to get bigger than that.
Right. You know, and we talked about burning ourselves is once where, you know, the item might only weigh a couple pounds. And so that's how much we charge for. But it was a weird shaped box.
It was just like a little bit bigger. It was like 15 by 18. Right. So they were like, nope, oversized.
So if you sell, you know, weird items like we do, then you need to learn about size of
of the box.
Of boxes, especially if you're making it your own. It's boxes, which we do sometimes.
Yeah.
So this person asks another question, and he says, "I can hear you guys talking that I'm insane."
Yeah, he literally asked like I mean, we summarized the question, but that last one was like 3 paragraphs.
Yeah,
long.
really, like go on the blog. Like there's a lot of people wanting to help you. So
yeah.
So maybe they're it's new, or maybe they were selling in an antique mall and now they're trying to get on eBay. So this is their final thing to us. So how long do I keep stuff on eBay before I just take it down? Like how long do you allow things to float? Especially it sounds like this person is selling items that are worth $5 or $10. Will you allow this item to be on eBay for 3 or 4
years?
Yes. And so we talked about this before. We're the list it and forget it people. However, we also don't sell $5 or $10 items. Every so often we'll throw up something cheap because we got a big box of something and we just can't let things go. But we really try and find items that sell for $30 or more. And we are happy to let items sit for a couple of years. So 48 months before we even think about it. And then we will every so often kind of look at our items and we'll be like, man, that thing's been on for a long time.
Bring the price down. We'll never end it.
Yeah, let's bring the price down. Like, if we've invested this much time in it, let's just let it go. And as I always say, if you have a store, the store subscription, you are charged 20 cents an item for the basic store, and then as you get the higher subscription, like we have the highest subscription, it costs 10 cents a month to put an item up. So really,
5 cents. It's 5 cents.
Yeah, sorry. Ours is at 5 cents. So if something's up for 24 months, I mean, that's like $1.20. And if it sells for $20 or $30 plus, I mean, it still works out. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've listened to any of our podcasts, all we say is list it and forget it. Yeah. That's what we do.
But if you're one of those people, and you break my heart, that has a store and you're selling items for $2, $6, that's the bulk of your inventory. I mean, it's cool. You're like, it's recycling, helping people find good deals, but you're never going to make a living selling items for cheap.
That's not, it's just not realistic.
If your goal is to recycle old items, give people good deals, that's awesome. God bless you. I love you. I love buying from you. But if you're here to make a living or trying to pay its mortgage off, you got to find higher dollar items or be willing to charge more for your items.
Okay, this next person I have an answer for.
And it's from a different person.
It's a different person named Gift Finder. How do you determine the starting price for an auction item to generate the best result? 99 cents or best estimate, like $7.99 for a music CD? Here's my answer. Don't do auctions because they suck. So therefore, if you want to sell a CD for $8, put it on Buy It Now. Why would you do an auction for $7.99? That's crazy. Put it on Buy It Now.
Right. So I'll try and answer in a different way. We don't do auctions, so that's the right answer in my book. But this is a good question in the sense of like when we have done auctions, and every so often we'll try something. We'll try to put something on auction just to try it out or whatever. I mean, I also get confused by that. Do I put it up for a lowest price that I want from the item? Like, if I want $20, do I put it at $20? Or do I put it at 99 cents and hope it goes higher? It's tough.
It's hard. It's a weird thing. Because you're like, okay, say you have some rare CD or tape that's just hard to find. And you're like, well, I'd love to get $12 for it. But if it goes for $100, I'm psyched. Yeah, what's the answer? Like, do you put $12?
I think that's the thing. It's with the auction and why it feels like you're playing in a Vegas. Like, it's always a gamble. The hope is you put something on in an auction and there's a bidding war and you thought you get $20 and you get like $120 and it's like amazing and you tell people about it for the next 10 years, like I get it. Like, I love that. And that's happened to us, a handful of times. But most times we're going to put an auction up, and it either doesn't sell or it sells for the opening price, you know? And so something that we probably could have gotten $30 for, it sells for like $7, you know? So
yeah, it's just,
I don't know. I don't like that. To me, that gives me too much tension, and, you know, I hate that. I just like, I want this price for it. It's fixed. Here it is.
Yep.
And maybe I'll throw its best or offer on it. So, you know, you can tell me how much maybe I'll give a couple bucks off. So that's how we do it. All right. And this person, Gift Finder, I mean, I don't know. This sounds like a joke question to me, but they're like, I'm scanning books, and the scanner says that these items are worth 1 cent. They're books, you know, and we all have seen that on Amazon where like books are like a penny.
Yeah.
So this person's asking, should I send the book in and set the price close to it's what, you know, it says it is? I mean, I don't know. This is an Amazon thing. I would never send in a book where where other people are selling it for a penny. I just don't see the point in that.
And the people who are selling it for a penny, it's merchant fulfilled. So they're making the money on the shipping because they're going to ship for $1.
So if you're sending in on FBA, I guess I've heard that even though it's merchant fulfilled as a penny, you can do it on FBA for higher because people
on Prime will put it in there. Yeah. I don't know. We don't know.
I mean, like that guy Picking Profits, Andrew, you know, his whole thing is he sends in books. He's sending in, you know, thousands of books,
of them.
And it's all about its volume. He says his average price, I think, is like $4 or something like that. You know, so, but he sells it in its volume, and so I get that. If you're into selling books, you can't just send in 25 books and make you know a buck a piece on each of them.
You have to send 3,000 books.
You have to send 3,000 books. So it's all about volume if you're selling it at that price.
Right. So if you're like, oh, these are penny books, yeah, I would think that maybe you should ignore those and look for high dollar items. That's it.
Yeah. So, but again, you're talking about eBay people, about Amazon stuff. So there you go. Okay. Adam asks, he's from Israel. He's in the Holy Land. So that's awesome.
No, that's cool. He's a seller in Israel. That's neat.
So he says, if you send an item as it's registered mail, where the buyer actually has to assign for it, do you message the buyer afterwards to make sure he got it? And I guess the reason why he's asking this is maybe he's new, this guy, and he wants some more feedback from people. So he's just asking, like, should he be messaging all of his buyers to make sure they got it? And because he really wants the feedback, but is that going to annoy people?
Right, that's a good question.
What do you think?
My opinion is no. If it's a registered mail, you can look on the receipt to see that they got it and know that they got it. And, I mean, we always say this. Some people just never leave feedback. There's nothing you can do. You can message them, you can think about it all day, and they just don't sign back into eBay for the next 2 months and leave feedback. Some people love your item so much they leave you feedback right away because they're so happy.
And I was like that too when we first started our store. It seemed very important to get a lot of good feedback.
I would message people. I would.
And we would message people, but honestly, I didn't feel like it helped at all.
No.
I don't think I made anybody ever angry because I would only send them a message. Like if I emailed them again and again and again, then it's
that
like
would
stalker-like. But I feel like, and I'd like to hear what other people say. I feel like a third to a half of people leave good feedback, or any kind of feedback, and the other half,
they just don't.
There's nothing I could do to get them to leave feedback.
They just don't,
and that's just because I think there's a lot of people who just get items and that's it. They're happy, but they don't want to tell anyone. They don't care. They're just like, I bought it. That's all I want.
On Amazon, I never leave feedback. I'm like, whatever. Yep, got it. Didn't return it. Fine. On eBay, I do, but it's just it depends on the person. I don't think you need to bug people, and the more you sell, the more feedback you'll get. So it shouldn't matter.
I think that's the thing. Instead of focusing on getting the feedback, just sell.
Just keep
sell,
selling.
Sell.
You'll get feedback.
And if you have like eBay puts a limit on people who are brand new. I don't think there's so much is looking at how much feedback you have. They're just trying to look at how many items are actually sold
and
they get to the person and there's no complaints.
Right.
So I think that's what you focus on is the volume of sales.
Because that's what you can control.
Right. Not volume of feedback.
Right, exactly. So I wouldn't worry about it.
But just know, Adam, that we love you and that we give you good feedback.
Yeah, you get 5 stars from us.
All right, so from us who are away and who have not been actually putting things up on eBay, we have been selling, but hopefully we were able to help you this week.
And hopefully we'll sell some more stuff, and you guys will sell some more stuff. And, it is getting to be holiday season, so hopefully your sales are gonna crazy.
Let's hope so. But anyway, okay, this podcast is ending, and
do we have to say this every time?
3, 2, 1.